Prayer is power. When you pray, then you are in touch with your higher consciousness. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Pray. Pray. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. Prayer is power. What are you going to do? Pray. Pray. Pray.
Namaste, everyone. Hello and welcome. Welcome to Religion of Religions. This is Donna from Palai Center. My spiritual name is Ronnie, and we welcome you with love. As today we learn about Ramana Maharshi, the beloved saint of Arunachala. We're so glad that you're here today. And if you're new to this program, I'd like to introduce to you Dr. Bhaskaran Pillai. He is an enlightened master whose picture you see on the screen now, and he has said that the foundation of all religions is love. And it is his desire, by creating this Religion of Religions YouTube channel, to unite the many different religions by meeting in the spiritual realm, by meeting in the heart. We truly respect all religions and choose to unite with them all in the experience of the divine, the experience of divine love, where there is no separation from each other. So today we will learn about Ramana Maharshi, described by Carl Jung as the whitest spot on a white surface. Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi taught that the practice of self-enquiry would reveal the true nature of the self as awareness. He would awaken mankind to the immense spiritual power of the holy Arunachala Hill, the spiritual heart of the world. And in this program, we'll learn about this beloved saint of Arunachala and meditate on his teachings. But first, we will call upon the Holy Spirit in the form of Lord Ganesha. We will chant his mantra, Om Gam Ganapataye Namaha. And when you call on him, he will answer. He is the first deity that we call upon. He is supreme intelligence, knows the future in this galaxy and in the next, and can foresee and remove any obstacles that keep us from the divinely orchestrated experience. So welcome to everyone who just joined us, and let's begin.
Om Dham Ganapataye Namaha. 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 Om Dham Ganapataye Namaha.
Lord Ganesha, we bow to you. Be with us in this gathering. Remove any obstacles that keep us from you, that keep us from experiencing your grace and your love in our hearts. We gratefully receive your divine intelligence, your unbounded compassion, and your supreme love that flows so freely and abundantly. In humble gratitude, we pray your name. Om Gam, Om Gam, Om Gam. On December 30th, 1879, Venkatarama Iyer was born. He was the second of 4 children in an Orthodox Hindu Brahmin family. Although he really didn't care for studies, he had a very good memory and was able to recall information after hearing it only once, an ability that he then used to memorize Tamil poems. He was quite physically active and enjoyed and was good at many different sports. When Venkataraman was about 11 years old, his father sent him to live with his paternal uncle, as he wanted his sons to be educated in the English language so that they would be able to receive a government service and be eligible to enter into government service. Now, when he was about 12 years old, he was known to have experienced spontaneous, deep meditative states. In his Tamil biography that appeared in 1920s, he was quoted as saying, "Some incomplete practice from a past birth was clinging to me. I would be putting attention solely within, forgetting the body. Sometimes I would be sitting in one place, but when I regained normal consciousness and got up, I would notice that I was lying down in a different narrow space to the one that I had first sat down." February 18th of 1892, his father, Sundaram Iyer, died very suddenly. And after his father's death, the family split up. In November of 1895, Venkataraman realized that Arunachala, the sacred mountain, was a real place. Until then, it was only a myth and a story that he had heard about. So, During his visits to the Meenakshi temple in Madurai, a new current of awareness started to awaken in him. He says, a state of blissful consciousness, transcending both the physical and mental plane, and yet compatible with full use of the physical and mental faculties. That's how he described his experience. Then in July of 1896, at the age of 16, he had a sudden fear of death. He was struck by a flash of excitement or heat, like some current or force that seemed to possess him, while his body became very rigid. A process of self-enquiry was initiated then, asking himself, what is it that dies? He concluded that the body dies, but this current or force remains alive, and recognized this current or force as his self, with a capital S, self, which he later identified with the personal God or Ishvara. Now, after this event, he lost interest completely in school studies, friends, and relations. He was absent-minded at school, quote, imagining and expecting God would suddenly drop down from heaven before me, he was quoted as saying. Avoiding company, he preferred to sit alone, absorbed in concentration on this current or force. And he went daily to the Meenakshi temple, ecstatically devoted to the images of the 63 Myanmars. This is a photo of that temple. And he would concentrate a lot on the statue of the Nataraj. It was said that he wanted the same grace as was known to the saints, and he prayed that he should have the same bhakti or devotion that they had. And he would weep and pray that God should give him the same grace that he gave to those saints. Now, knowing that his family would not permit him to become a sannyasin and leave the home, Venkataraman slipped away. He told his brother that he needed to attend some special class at school, so his brother relented and said, okay, go ahead. So Venkataraman boarded the train on August 29, 1896, and reached Tiruvannamalai on September 1st, where he remained for the rest of his life. When Maharshi arrived in Tiruvannamalai, he went right away to the temple of Arunachala. Just a beautiful temple there. He spent the first few weeks in the 1,000-pillared hall, then shifted to other spots in the temple where he wouldn't be disturbed, and eventually to the Patalalingam vault, so that he could remain completely undisturbed, as this was a vault that was rarely visited. There he spent days absorbed in such deep samadhi that he was totally unaware of his body and unaware of the bites of rats, mosquitoes, and other insects. Seshadri Swamigal, a local saint, discovered him in the underground vault and cared for him. He carried out the young saint and cleaned him up. For the next 2 months, he stayed in the Subramanya shrine, so unaware of his body and surroundings that food actually had to be placed in his mouth to keep him from starving. Oblivious to his surroundings, he experienced only a blissful trance. Eventually, in May of 1898, Maharshi and his attendant moved to the orchard near Guru Mortem, a shrine on the outskirts of town. And in time, he moved to Virupaksha cave. Now, in 1902, this is the first photo taken of the young saint. People started to flock to see the sage, only to sit in silence. But in their silence, and his silence, their minds would be calm and spiritual experiences would manifest. One devotee wrote, "Looking into his eyes transformed you into samadhi. Everyone in the hall felt that Bhagavan was looking at them alone, giving them the glance of grace to everyone seated in the hall." Now, it's also said that all beings loved him and was loved by all animals, much like Francis of Assisi. And it was said that he would even arbitrate squabbles between the monkeys. Objects being touched or used by him were highly valued by his devotees, as they considered it to be prasad, a blessed gift from the Guru, and that it passed on some power and blessing from the Guru to them. People also tried to touch his feet, which is also considered darshan. Darshan is the transmission of the spiritual energy to the devotee. When one devotee asked if it would be possible to prostrate himself before Sri Ramana Maharshi and touch his feet, he replied, "The real feet of the Bhagavan exist only in the heart of the devotee. To hold on to these feet incessantly is true happiness. You will be disappointed if you come to hold on to my physical feet only, because one day this physical body will disappear. Your greatest worship is in worshiping the Guru's feet that are within oneself." He soon would be known by the name Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. Ramana meaning beautiful, joyful. Maharshi meaning a great seer, and the Bhagavan is the divine. He accepted all people, regardless of race, religion, or caste. All questions were answered by him, but they always brought the person back to the self. He said, "Know who you are, then all else will be known." He never advised that people renounce their occupations or families and move to the forest. He would say the obstacle is the mind, which must be gotten over, whether at home or in the forest. His teachings never required rituals nor ceremonies, and in the end, all people could experience the bliss of the self. Ramana Maharshi believed that death and evil were maya, or illusion, which could be dissipated by the practice of vichara, which is the discrimination between the real and the unreal, and by which the true self and the unity of all things could be discovered. Now, in November 1948, a tiny cancerous lump was found on Ramana Maharshi's arm and was removed in February of 1949 by the ashram's doctor. Soon another growth appeared, and another operation was performed in March. But the doctor told Ramana Maharshi that a complete amputation of the arm to the shoulder was required in order to save his life, but he refused. His condition was very painful, yet the doctors were surprised that there was never a sign of any pain in his eyes. Although numerous operations and systems of medicine were then tried, all proved fruitless and were stopped by the end of March, when the devotees gave up all hope. To devotees who begged him to cure himself for the sake of his followers, Ramana Maharshi is said to have replied, "Why are you so attached to this body? Let it go." And he would also say, "Where can I go? I am here." By April 1950, Ramana Maharshi was too weak to go to the hall, and the visiting hours were limited. Visitors would file past a small room where he spent his last days and get one final glimpse of the saint. Ramana Maharshi regarded giving darshan as his task in life and said that he had to be accessible to all who came to him. Even during his terminal illness at the end of his life, he demanded to be approachable for all who came for his darshan. As Ramana Maharshi's life was draining, a group of devotees began to sing Arunachala Shiva. When he heard this beautiful hymn, his eyes opened and gave a brief smile of indescribable love and tenderness. Tears of bliss rolled down his cheeks, and with one final breath, he left his body. No struggle, no suffering. At the same time, a shooting star was seen on April 14th, 1950 at 8:47 p.m., the moment of Maharshi's death. Now, led by Dr. Pillai, let's chant together this brilliant, glorious chant to the magnificent Mount Arunachala, the living abode of Shiva.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunasio. 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 Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunasio.
Today, thousands flock to the tomb and Samadhi shrine of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi to feel his presence and guidance even more than when he inhabited his physical system. Now, close your eyes. For the next few minutes, I will share excerpts from the book called Who Am I? A set of questions and answers on self-enquiry. The questions were put to Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. Ramana Maharshi did not speak hardly at all in those days. His teachings were conveyed by either silent darshan or by writing. The following answers he gave to the questions were written down. Question number 1 was, who am I? He wrote, the gross body, which is composed of 7 humors, I am not. The 5 cognitive senses, organs, the senses of hearing, touch, sight, taste, and smell, which apprehend their respective objects, sound, touch, color, taste, and odor, I am not. The 5 cognitive sense organs, the organs of speech, locomotion, grasping, excretion, and procreation, which have as their respective functions speaking, moving, grasping, excreting, and enjoying, I am not. The 5 vital airs, prana, etc., which perform respectively the 5 functions of inbreathing, I am not. Even the mind which thinks, I am not. The nescience too, which is endowed only with the residual impressions of objects, and in which there are no objects and no functionings, I am not. If I am none of these, then who am I? After negating all of the above mentioned as not this, that awareness which alone remains, that I am. The nature of awareness is existence, consciousness, bliss. Meditate on the words of Sri Ramana Maharshi. The nature of awareness is existence, consciousness, bliss. when will the realization of the self be gained? When the world, which is what is seen, has been removed, there will be realization of the self, which is the seer. Will there not be realization of the self even while the world is there and taken as real? There will not be. Why? The seer and the object seen are like the rope and the snake. Just as the knowledge of the rope, which is the substratum, will not arise unless the false knowledge of the illusory serpent goes, so the realization of the self, which is the substratum, will not be gained unless the belief that the world is real is removed. When will the world, which is the object seen, be removed? When the mind, which is the cause of all cognition and all actions, becomes quiescent, the world will disappear. Meditate on the words of Sri Ramana Maharshi. When the mind, which is the cause of all cognition and all actions, becomes quiescent, the world will disappear. How will the mind become quiescent? By the inquiry, who am I? And like the stick used for stirring the burning fire, it will itself in the end get destroyed. Then, there will arise self-realization. Meditate on the words of Sri Ramana Maharshi. The thought, who am I, will destroy all other thoughts. Through meditation on the forms of God and through repetition of mantras, the mind becomes one-pointed. The mind will always be wandering. Just as when a chain is given to an elephant to hold in its trunk, it will go along grasping the chain and nothing else. So also when the mind is occupied with a name or form, it will grasp that alone. When the mind expands in the form of countless thoughts, each thought becomes weak. But as thoughts get resolved, the mind becomes one-pointed and strong. For such a mind, self-inquiry will become easy. Meditate on the words of Sri Ramana Maharshi. Through meditation on the forms of God and through repetition of mantras, the mind becomes one-pointed. When other thoughts arise, one should not pursue them, but should inquire, to whom do they arise? It does not matter how many thoughts arise. As each thought arises, one should inquire with diligence, to whom has this thought arisen? The answer that would emerge would be, to me. Thereupon, if one inquires, who am I, the mind will go back to its source, and the thought that arose will become quiescent. With repeated practice in this manner, the mind will develop the skill to stay in its source. Meditate on the words of Sri Ramana Maharshi. If one inquires, "Who am I?" the mind will go back to its source. When the mind that is subtle goes out through the brain and the sense organs, the gross names and forms appear. When it stays in the heart, the names and forms disappear. Not letting the mind go out, but retaining it in the heart, is what is called inwardness. Letting the mind go out of the heart is known as externalization. Thus, when the mind stays in the heart, the I, which is the source of all thoughts, will go, and the self, which ever exists, will shine. Whatever one does, one should do without the ego I. If one acts in that way, all will appear as the nature of Shiva, of God. Meditate on the words of Sri Ramana Maharshi. Not letting the mind go out, but retaining it in the heart, is what is called inwardness. What is the nature of the self? What exists in truth is the self alone. The world, the individual soul, and God are appearances in it, like silver in mother of pearl. These three appear at the same time and disappear at the same time. The self is that where there is absolutely no I thought. That is called silence. The self itself is the world. The self itself is I. The self itself is God. All is Shiva, the self. Meditate on the words of Sri Ramana Maharshi. The self itself is God. All is Shiva, the self. Make a final prayer now to Lord Shiva, the self of all. May we always remain in the heart and know the truth of who we really are. Slowly and gently, you can begin to come back to yourself. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. If you'd like to continue meditating, please feel free to do so. Otherwise, you can end the meditation now. Please feel free to post in the chat any experiences that you may have had today if you'd like to share. Also, there was quite a lot to his story that I certainly couldn't share on this program today for time constraints, of course. So I want to post a link. This was a really good research tool for me, among other things. But this is a YouTube link to a full documentary about Sri Ramana Maharshi, which was oh so good, very, very detailed, beautiful. Yes, beloved superstar is saying, Lord Shiva, I pray may I always remain in the heart. Yes. So I hope you enjoyed today's program. He was an amazing individual. There's no question about that. Ronnie, what are the words to meditate on? You know, I just took excerpts from the book, Who Am I? In fact, you can get the book on Amazon, Who Am I? The Teachings of Bhagavan Sri Ramana Maharshi. It's just a little, tiny little paperback. It's only 16 pages here. And a bunch of those are the introduction and the foreword and all that. The actual teachings, start on about page 5. So it's just a little book, but it really is something that you can, read and just grab a passage out of. The main thing is allowing the mind to become quiescent or quiet, to stop the thoughts. Stop the thoughts. And again, he's saying the thoughts will slow down and stop when you keep asking, who am I? Who am I? Because who are you asking? You're not asking your spouse. You're not asking the guy on the street. You're asking the divine. And the divine is going to reveal to you who you are. And in doing so, all of those thoughts of, what's real, what's unreal, the snake and the rope. Is it a snake or is it a rope? Which is it? There's so many different illusions that we are bumbling around on this earth, believing that they're true, and they're not. And they're not. But as we ask the most important question, who am I? We will get the answer. I am God. I am Shiva. Shiva is the self of all. Oh, thank you. Michaeline is saying, what a touching, beautiful session. Really touched my heart. Oh, good. I'm glad. Here at Religion of Religions, we explore different teachings, different teachings from the masters. And, there's been some debate, well, maybe he should have healed himself. Why didn't he heal himself so he could stay around longer? He didn't heal his body. Well, but he had a definite reason for that too. He said, why are you so hung up on the body? The body's going to go, but I'm going to be here. So, we explore different teachings here on Religion of Religions, and I'm glad that you enjoyed this one today. Jeremy is saying, so needed at this time. Yeah, we have to become quiet. And it's a challenge to become quiet, isn't it? There's so much stuff going on. So one really needs to shut off the TV, stop looking at your phone on the internet, and just go into a cave somewhere, the metaphorical cave. If you got a walk-in closet at home, hey, sometimes those are the best meditation caves. Clear them out, clear a place to sit, and just sit there in the dark and, yeah, and just be in the silence. Listening is another way to quiet the mind. You can't think and listen at the same time. It's impossible. In my opinion, that's what I've noticed. So, yeah, well, he is saying even Jesus dropped his physical body. Yeah, exactly. We're so hung up on this meat body, thinking that that's who we really are. And when it turns out to be not that good, we start thinking, well, I guess I'm not that good. No. I guess that's the trade-off here. You want a body, you can experience the different sensations of the body, but you're also going to experience the decline. So, okay, so really important. Starting tomorrow, daylight saving ends here in the West. So next week, if you are, if you don't observe daylight saving where you live, next week, this program will take place 1 hour later for you. So if you arrive, at the normal time that you did today, you're going to have to hang around for an hour and then we'll start. But, keep watching YouTube, because luckily, the really good thing about YouTube is that they make the time adjustment for us. So it'll tell you exactly what your time is and when the program will start. So it's good. And, that goes for any other of the, Palai Center and Religion of Religions programs. They'll all take place 1 hour later if you don't observe daylight saving. So, thank you. Thank you for joining us today. Appreciate you guys being here. Oh, I realized, did I? Yes, I did. Okay. I wasn't sure if I had just highlighted the link for the full video or if I actually posted it. Wow, it looks like I did post it. Okay, cool. And it's in the description area underneath this video box, too, if you want to watch the full documentary about Ramana Maharshi. Quite good indeed. Even that was a meditation as I watched it. Really good. I found myself just getting really, really quiet. So, once again, thank you everybody for joining us today. We offer our humble gratitude to Lord Ganesha, Sri Ramana Maharshi, and to our beloved Dr. Pillai for all the miracles and the blessings that we've received today. And we'll close our program with one more excerpt from Who Am I by Sri Ramana Maharshi. Know who you are, then all else will be known. Happiness is your real nature. You identify yourself with the body and mind, feel its limitations and suffer. Realize your true self in order to open the store of unalloyed happiness. That true self is the reality, the supreme truth, which is the self of all the world you now see, the self of all the selves. The one real, the supreme, the eternal self, as distinct from the ego or the bodily idea for the self. All is Shiva, the self. Thank you again for joining. God bless you. We love you, and we'll see you soon. Namaste.
Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunasio. 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 Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunachala Shiva, Arunasio.